Brennan Poole will be making his NASCAR Truck Series return at Texas Motor Speedway. Preece will not be racing in the AllStar race later this weekend. And Kyle Busch believes that his brother Kurt will enhance the Toyota camp. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We have quite a few NASCAR stories discussed here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start off all the paint schemes and sponsorship news. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first paint scheme we're going to go ahead and take a look at is Justin Allgaier's 2021 Dollar Shave Club scheme that we're going to see in the Xfinity Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. Really awesome. The Dollar Shave Club is coming on this weekend on board to sponsor Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier has had a lot of major companies that have sponsored him throughout the year so far. I really like this paint scheme a lot, and it's really awesome to see the Dollar Shave Club is going to be sponsoring Justin Allgaier this weekend. The next paint scheme we're going to talk about is Austin's 2020 ProTech Throwback scheme that we're going to see this weekend here in the All-Star Open. Austin is going to be racing All-Star Open number 33 car, and they're throwing it back to his first ever ARCA start in 2016. Like the colors a lot, and I think they got it right. The colors look really cool on the car. In my honest opinion, the car, it looks really good. And the final paint scheme we're going to take a look at is Ryan Blaney's 2020 Wrangler Menard scheme that we're going to see this weekend in the All-Stars. This paint scheme is decent in my honest opinion. I'm kind of used to these Menard schemes, so I'm not as enthused when we see all these Menard schemes since Menard is going to sponsor Ryan Blaney for a majority of the year. But it's really cool that Wrangler is going to be sponsoring Ryan Blaney this weekend, and that's really awesome to see for sure. And now we're going to jump on to all the other major stories we discuss here on the channel. Let's go and just jump straight to it. The first story we're going to talk about is MBM Motorsports. As MBM Motorsports is going to be racing two cars in the All-Star Open, as they are going to be attempting to qualify into the race since they are not locked into the All-Stars. They will have Timmy Hill in the number 66 and David Starr in the number 13. In my honest opinion, I do not believe both guys are going to get in. The only one I think that actually could get in is going to be on the fan vote is going to be Timmy Hill. They showed a chart recently of the drivers that could honestly make it into the show on the fan vote if they're not able to make it on speed. And right now, Timmy Hill is currently sitting in the top 10, and he's got a really big fan base. So the only way, in my opinion, that I think any of the MBM Motorsports cars are able to make it in is if they're able to make it in on the fan vote. But I am really happy to see the MBM's going to run two cars. It's really cool to see that for sure. And hopefully, they're both able to have a lot of success and able to have some great runs here. It'd be really awesome to see if both those cars are able to make the show back. On my honest opinion, the only way they can make it into the All-Star race is going to be based on the fan vote. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are talking about Daniel Dye. As Daniel Dye is going to be racing in 8 ARCA races for GMS Racing, driving the number 21 car. He'll be splitting those in the ARCA East, ARCA West, and the main ARCA Series as well. He's also got a really cool sponsor, a really cool initiative that is going to be backing him as well. I am really happy to see that Daniel Dye is getting a really incredible opportunity to race for GMS. GMS is a top-tier organization, especially in the Truck Series and the ARCA Series as well. I mean, last year they won the ARCA, I believe it's ARCA East Championship with Sam Mayer, and they've been working with a lot of their drivers, had a lot of development come through the ranks through the GMS camp, and they've got a lot of talent that is coming through there. And Daniel Dye is no exception. Dude knows how to get behind the wheel, knows how to race a car. He's done really well so far in the races he's ran. And I think that he's going to do a really good job. So I think he's going to show a lot of speed as we get far down the line. And I think that he'll have a shot at obtaining points. I actually think that he'll at least win 1 or 2 races here in the 2021 season, if not more. Because I think he's going to show a lot of speed. He's got a lot of promise and a lot of greatness. And I think Daniel Dye is going to do a lot of great things. I'm really happy to see that he's getting an opportunity to race for GMS. And hopefully, if he does well enough, he'll go full-time with them. Or maybe in the future, go up to the Truck Series for GMS camp. We'll have to see for sure. But really cool opportunities. There's so many guys have come through that ranks. Look at drivers like, Sam Mayer, who's been through those ranks. You've had a lot of other drivers. This is such a cool opportunity overall for Daniel Dye. And I'm wishing him the best of luck here in those 8 races later this year. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are talking about New Hampshire. As New Hampshire Motor Speedway has officially announced full capacity for the July weekend. It joins the long list of racetracks that in the last couple weeks have announced that they are going to have full capacity. Bristol is going to have full capacity. Daytona playoff race is going to have it. Pocono, the championship race at Phoenix, Martinsville, Kansas. The Southern 500 is going to have full capacity. The list of races that have been announcing full capacity is incredible. There are not that many races the rest this year that need to announce that they are going to have full capacity or not. This is really, really cool to see that they're going to have full capacity. It's really good to see that things are continuing to return to normal. We've been seeing in the infield that infield access has been becoming less restrictive. Yes, of course, it's not fully back to normal. NASCAR wants 70% of the industry to basically be fully back to normal before they decide to open up the infield 100% completely. But they're starting to open up the infield access. You don't have to do health screenings or anything like that to get in the infield access or vaccination cards to get in the infield access. But I'm really happy to see New Hampshire is going to have full capacity. I mean, we are getting much, much closer to everything returning normal. And to be honest, at the beginning of the year, I didn't think that any tracks would be back at full capacity, or I didn't think it would be until we got up to the playoffs we're going to have full capacity. But pretty much a majority of the upcoming races, like this weekend, the AllStar race in Nashville, they're also going to have full capacity as well. I think this is really awesome to see if they're going to have full capacity. I'm really happy that New Hampshire will have full capacity here this weekend and when their weekend in July. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are talking about Tanner Berryhill. As Tanner Berryhill here is going to be making his second Xfinity Series start of 2021, driving the number 23 once again for our motorsports. He made his return to NASCAR for the first time in a couple years at Darlington. I believe he ended up finishing in the top 25 for the 23 organization. But once again, I think that this, once again, is a really good opportunity for Tanner Berryhill. I think he's shown what he's been able to capable to do. The 23 car also is super, super competitive. They're not the most competitive organization. They're not like Coone Racing right now or Team Penske or Joe Gibbs Racing. But they're a team that's been up there contending for top 10s and top 5s. And this 23 car I've seen, the second one for our motorsports, I've seen them contend for top 15s and show a lot of promise and show a lot of speed. And I think Tanner Berryhill is going to be able to bring that to the table because he's a very, very talented race car driver. He's shown he's been able to do. I know his time at Biker Racing really did not go that smooth. Let's be for real. Biker Racing was never really a competitive organization in the Cup Series, and they really kind of had a fallout coming into the sport. So I think that he's going to have a really good shot at being really competitive. I think the goal overall for Tanner Berryhill is to try to seek and finish in the top 15. I know those are really, really lofty goals for drivers. Only made one start earlier this year, but he's had experience in these cars. He's working with the same crew he's worked in the past, and I think that he will show a lot of speed. And what I've liked what they've been doing this year, especially our motorsports, they've been bringing a lot of different drivers. They've had J.G. Ely in their cars. They've had Andy Lally in their cars for a couple races, and now they're having Tanner Berryhill back in the car here. Really good to see that for sure, and hopefully Tanner Berryhill will have a very, very strong run here at Texas Motor Speedway, and we'll get to see him at top 15 this weekend coming up this Saturday. And now we're going to jump on to the next story of today's episode, as we are talking about Coone Racing. As after they won the Xfinity Series race in Mid-Ohio, AJ Allmendinger won, the media was basically asking about in regards to the Cup Series program, and they basically responded saying that they're not sure on who the driver is going to be for them in the 2022 season at this time. Now, they are also at this moment planning on running 2 cars at some point, though, this year in the 2022 season, with AJ Allmendinger running all the super speedways and all of the road course cars as well. I thought that there was only going to be one Coone car that's going to be out there for the Cup Series. The fact that they're probably going to have 2 cars out there at points, and they may not run those cars with charters, especially since, you know, that they're looking to maybe run with or without a charter. They're looking to run full-time in one, and to have a part-time car will be really, really good feedback for the organization as well. Coone Racing has been making some really, really big moves over there. A few years ago, they only started in 2016. They were a team that started 2016 with Blake Cook. They've been making their rounds. 2019, they were able to win their first career race at Ross Chastain, and also got a couple more wins. Also won AJ Allmendinger in 2019. And then 2020, they really broke out and were able to get Ross Chastain a very solid year, didn't win a race. But you also had Justin Haley win 3 races on the super speedway tracks, and it was also AJ Allmendinger also won a couple races in 2020 as well. And here in 2021, that team has shown a lot of speed. Dinger has basically had 2 wins so far this year. Jeff Burton scored a victory, and Justin Haley's been super, super consistent so far. In my opinion, when it comes to the Cup Series program, I think that there's only a couple drivers that really come to mind. Number 1 is Justin Haley. Justin Haley, man, there's a lot of reasons why I think it's going to be Justin Haley. I would like it to be Kaz Grala, but Justin Haley, there's something interesting about Justin Haley. The guy runs the operations, not the owner, but the guy that really runs the operations is his uncle, Todd Braun. So I would think that if Spire is to lose one of their charters next year and drop to a one car for their season, I would think that if they are to get a charter, it's going to go from Spire, and I think that Coone will take that charter from there. That's why I think that Justin Haley is going to go into the Coone car full-time in the Cup Series. Plus, he's been with Coone for a few years, and he has that potential of Eagles sponsorship. That's another reason why I think that he would probably end up getting that right. In regards to the Xfinity Series program, I would think that they honestly would pick Kaz Grala in the Xfinity Series program. I think Kaz deserves an opportunity. He's been really good in the Cup Series. I like to see Kaz go full-time in Cup, but I think that there's a really good chance that Kaz will end up in Xfinity Series full-time with Kaulig. I think Justin is going to end up driving full-time with the Kaulig car number 16, and I think that Casgrove will be taking over the 11. That's just my honest opinion on that, but I'm really happy to see that Kaulig Racing is looking to maybe run 2 cars at some point in the 2022 season. And now we're going to jump onto the first of 3 major stories in today's episode, as we are talking about Brennan Poole. As Brennan Poole is making his NASCAR Truck Series return and NASCAR return this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, driving the number 30 for On Point Motorsports. For a lot of you who don't know what's been going on with Brennan Poole has not been racing this year. Last year, he raced full-time in the Cup Series pretty much most of the year for Rick Ware Racing in the number 15 car, but he's not racing this year due to a wrist injury, and he decided to sit out and has not raced since then. This, again, is great to see that Brennan Poole is coming back. For those of you that have not seen how good he can be, he got 7 top 20s with the On Point Motorsports camp. I don't know how many top 20s Danny Bones had. I think Danny Bones is a really solid driver overall. He's done some good things with the On Points Motorsports organization. But I think Brennan Poole has been the best driver overall in history, the short history of On Point Motorsports. I've seen him get top 10s with his team and showing a lot of speed. It's really cool. I cannot tell you how excited I am to see that Brennan Poole's coming back. He's been teasing that he's been looking to come back at some point this summer, and the fact now that Brennan Poole's coming back is really, really cool. In regards to what my expectations are for Brennan Poole, I think Brennan Poole honestly has a shot at least contending for a top 15 and top 20. He's been pretty decent historically here at Texas Motor Speedway in his time in the trucks. I believe he got a top 10 once here at Texas Motor Speedway a couple years ago. And I think that Brennan Poole at least has a shot for a top 15 or even a top 10. And I think he'll get the best out of equipment. He's a guy that can do really, really well. He's very, very talented. And I'm very excited to see that he's coming back to the NASCAR Truck Series. I think he's going to do a lot of great things. I think that he'll be probably back in the car for a while. I think that this is not the only time we'll see Brennan Poole in the truck this year. I would anticipate that Brennan Poole will be running quite a few races here throughout the year. But yeah, really excited to see that Brennan Poole is making his NASCAR Truck Series return, and I'm wishing him the best of luck this weekend here at Texas Motor Speedway. Now we're going to jump onto the first of 2 major stories in today's episode, as we are talking about Ryan Preece. As Ryan Preece and the 37 organization of JT Doherty Racing are not going to be racing the All-Star race, as they have decided to skip the All-Star race. Now, one of the reasons I think that they are overall skipping the All-Star race is because they are an uncharted car. And uncharted cars have the option, if they want to, they can skip, or they can basically decide to race or not. And because it is, they have decided to skip. And another reason is I think they're trying to save money. I think that they're not able to find funding for the All-Star race. So I think that's one of the reasons why Ryan Preece is not going to be racing the All-Star race. But I can tell you right now, it really is unfortunate to see that Ryan Preece is not going to be racing the All-Star race, because Ryan Preece is historically really, really good at Texas Motor Speedway, not just in his time in the Cup Series, but also in his time in the Xfinity Series. Well, he's done really, really well at this racetrack. I've seen him contend for top 10s and top 15s at this racetrack. I know this track is really, really difficult to pass, but he's shown a lot of speed in his time at this racetrack. And over at points this year so far throughout 2021 year, he has shown a lot of speed. I know they only were planning on running 25 races throughout the year, but I really hope that he can run. I think that he's not going to be missing many Cups or regular races. I think he'll run probably a majority of races. It is really, really unfortunate that they're not going to be able to basically race at least this weekend at the All-Star race. I think they would have been able to show a lot of speed. JT Doherty's been overall really, really putting on a lot of good performances throughout this year. Rick Stenhouse Jr. has been in the top 20 points. He's had quite a few top 10s and top 20s throughout the year. And Ryan Preece at the beginning of the year got a couple top 20s and got quite a few top 10s. While I know that this, as we got farther down the year, they haven't been as strong as they've been in the past. But I really do think that Ryan Preece is going to continue to show a lot of speed. He's done a lot of great things. It sucks he's not going to be racing the All-Star race. I think he could have brought a lot to the table in regards to the All-Star race. Could have helped the JT Doherty Racing organization. I think he's a very, very solid and a very great race car driver. But it is what it is. I'm definitely wishing the best luck. It does suck that he's not going to be racing the All-Star race, and hopefully he will make his return. I would expect that he'll be back in Nashville to race there. I would not be surprised if they do make the return, and hopefully they're able to run all the rest of the races, and this is the only race they have to skip this year, because if this is the only race they skip, it is what it is. But this could be a bigger issue, because the fact they don't sponsorship is really, really unfortunate. But hopefully he comes back in Nashville, and this is the first time we're skipping throughout the year. Definitely really unfortunate. And anyway, they're probably also skipping too, because the All-Star race, let's be for real, is probably going to be a shit show. It's going to be a mess with all the crazy rules and all that stuff, and we're going to get much money anyways from the event. I think they also decided to skip because of money issues. But anyway, that's the unfortunate situation for Ryan Preece, and hopefully he will make his return at Nashville here later this year. And now we're going to jump on to the final major story of today's episode, as we are talking about Kyle Busch and 2311 Racing in regards to Kurt Busch. Now, it's been rumored for about a week or two that was reported by The Athletic's Jordan Bianchi that Kurt Busch is the leading candidate to go to a second 2311 racing car. 2311 Racing is planning on expanding to a two-car operation in 2022, and Kurt Busch is currently the leading candidate at the time. Talks to my know, I'm not sure in regards, I don't have really much insider information on this, but from what I've been hearing, basically, their talks basically have begun at this current moment. So we'll have to watch and see what happens in regards to talks. But Kyle Busch actually addressed this situation in regards. I mean, Kyle Busch during the race was also saying anything but Kurt throughout the race coverage. But here's what he said in regards to the potential of 2311 Racing potentially expanding and bringing Kurt Busch into Toyota stable. He says that would be the list of all manufacturers, right? He could check them all off if he drove a Toyota and want to race in Toyota, he said. That's his prerogative. I think those decisions be made don't have anything to do with me. But certainly that would be probably be a big hit for our program and what we've got going on, especially the 2311 program. If that all comes to fruition, I've heard the same for rumors you guys have. I think Kyle Busch is absolutely right in regards to if Kurt Busch does go over to 2311. I think he's not only going to overall enhance the 2311 racing camp, I think he's overall going to help the Toyota camp over there as well. Toyota right now has a pretty strong fleet at the moment. You have Kyle Busch, who's a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. You got Mark Truex Jr., who won the championship in 2017 and has already won 3 races so far this year. You've got Denny Hamlin, who's never won a championship, but he's been always a championship contender and super consistent. And you have Christopher Bell, who's kind of fallen off over the last couple months, but he's a guy that's already won this year with the Joe Gibbs Racing Organization, who's currently playing us. And you also have Bubba Wallace over there, who's had a couple good runs this year, but really not as good a year as a lot of us thought he was going to be. So I think Kurt Busch being a champion in 2004, the guy that's always won a race, he's basically won a race every year since 2014. I think he'd go over to Toyota and also sit in the meetings as well and bring a lot of feedback and information over to the Toyota organization, and he can listen into even his brother as well, and they can work together. Because this is not the first time that Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch will work together. 2012, Kurt Busch basically raced for not only the Truck Series team for Kyle Busch runs, but he also ran in the 54 car for Kyle Busch Motorsports as well, and was able to get them a win at Richmond in 2012 in a photo finish with Denny Hamlin in the 18 car, who's Kyle Busch's teammate currently at the moment. To me, I think that this move would be really, really good overall for Toyota Camp. But in regards to 2311, I've talked about this a couple times on this channel, but I really think that this move would really, really overall help 2311 Racing, because Kurt Busch is a guy that can bring a lot of feedback and a lot to the table. He's the guy that could overall help Bubba Wallace, because I'm just going to be real and honest with you guys. I think Bubba Wallace needs a lot of mentorship and guidance. The last 2 weeks, 2311 has really shown some growing over the last 2 weeks. They were able to get 2 straight top 15 finish, and they were able to almost get a top 10 at Dover. So the last 3 of the last 4 races, they have shown a lot of speed and a lot of speed here over the last couple weeks. But I think that bringing Kurt Busch over is going to take that program a lot of steps forward, and they're going to continue to improve as an organization at times go on. The other reason I think this would be a good move is because of the fact that Kurt Busch does bring some funding. Remember, Kurt Busch has association with Monster Energy, and that's funding right there. Monster Energy has been with Kurt Busch since as an endorsement program and a sponsor for Kurt Busch since around the year 2012. So he's been over there with them for a very, very long time. You don't really see a lot of sponsors that basically stay and work with one driver as long as they have. I mean, Lowe's stayed with Jimmy Johnson for a long time, and Denny Hamlin's had FedEx, but there is not a lot of sponsors that overall stay committed for a long period of time. So you have that sponsorship, which is bring funding. You know, they're all, of course, recently 2311 basically brought DraftKings onto their them to sponsor for one race Pocono. I know DraftKings is supposed to be basically over there to help expand to a 2-car operation. But if you bring a driver like Kurt Busch over, they can bring a lot of feedback and a lot to the table, and he also could help and bring the money that they need. So I think that this overall would help the Toyota program, also would help 2311 Racing take those next steps forward. And I think that team would have a lot more potential and show a lot more if you bring Kurt Busch over and continue to help that organization. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notification on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my page as well. Link description below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. Do you believe that Kurt Busch will enhance the Toyota camp going down? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about Preece not racing the AllStar race? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.